Hey folks, welcome to Swifty Travels. It has been a long time since I've given you an informational video about the Balloon Fiesta. The Balloon Fiesta is about to occur and I'm starting to get a fair amount of questions coming in on my old videos about the Balloon Fiesta. So I thought it would be time to put together a Q&A video where I try to answer some of your most pressing questions about the event. I will link to the previous videos I have on the Balloon Fiesta. My essential tips video is still pretty valuable. There's a few dated things in there like wearing masks, like that was back in the COVID days when I made that video, but still got some useful information. And I also take you to the events. You can kind of see what to expect. And I have some videos on the VIP experiences that they also have at the Balloon Fiesta. Now, this is the largest international balloon fiesta that comes to the United States once a year. It is always in the first full week of October here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Albuquerque, New Mexico has a very unique airflow called the box that is in this part of town where at different elevations the airflow goes in different directions. And so the balloons can actually fly in a box over the city. And it is just a beautiful display of up to 600 balloons at one time go up in the air over the skies of Albuquerque. And if you didn't know this already, New Mexico has some of the most beautiful skies, sunrises and sunsets in the entire nation. So this is a fantastic event. So I'm going to go over some of the most common questions that I receive. I'm sure I'm not going to think of everything. If you have additional questions, you can comment down below. And one of these days, I'm going to have a helpful guide on my website, swiftytravels.com, but I have not been able to put that together yet. So I am working on it. The balloons go up every day during the full week and each weekend, both before and after the first full week of October. So they schedule it to where from Saturday to Sunday on either end of the week, the full week is in the month of October. So whatever that first week is on the calendar, that where the full days will land in October, that is when the Balloon Fiesta will be scheduled. So if you're looking to come in future years, that's when you can look for it. Now every day, the balloons go up. They have what's called the mass ascension events. Now this is where the largest quantity of balloons go up at once, and that is going to be on Saturdays and Sundays and Fridays, Saturdays and Sundays of each of those weekends. Now that's the largest amount of balloons, but let me tell you that is also the largest amount of crowds. Now when I first made my tips video, I think I said you should go at like maybe 4:30 in the morning, and I ran into quite a crazy amount of traffic. Albuquerque still has not figured out how to deal with traffic. And so if you come late and you're planning to drive to the event, you will likely get stuck in traffic. So if you're driving to the event, I hate to say this, if it's on a weekend, you should probably come, like you should leave your accommodation at like 3:30 in the morning to really be sure that you don't get stuck in traffic. So during the weekdays, you're not going to have the same amount of balloons flying in the air, but it is still significant. There are still a lot of balloons, and I encourage you to even come on a weekday. You know why? Because the traffic is not as bad. So if you want to know the differences between the weekdays and the weekends, it's really going to be about crowds and quantities of balloons. And then during the week, they're going to have special events. I think one day during the week, it's usually about making sure all the nations are represented. I think the Thursday during the week is usually the special shapes. That's a really unique event to attend because you see all the balloons that are not standard. You have spacemen, and you have Darth Vader, and you have aliens, and they are just so creative, and the balloons that they have at the Balloon Fiesta. Now you will see some of those special balloons during the other days of the week as well, but that's when they have like a focused event on Thursday. So look at the calendar. Any day you can make it will be great. Now I always recommend that you plan on coming more than one day because weather conditions can affect their ability to fly. Mostly wind is a big problem. Wind and rain, of course. Balloons can't go up if there's any rain in the sky, and it's inevitable that we'll get a rainstorm during the month of October during Balloon Fiesta, and you would hate to come all this way and not be able to see the balloons. So plan on coming more than one day just in case the weather doesn't cooperate. And if you do get lucky and you can see the Balloon Fiesta on the first day you come, there are plenty of other great things you can see while you're here. They do have morning events and they do have afternoon events. The morning event is the beautiful mass ascension where you're going to want to see all the balloons go up in the sky. They always start off with the same things. They have a drone show first thing in the morning because it's dark when people arrive. Then they have the dawn patrol, which is the first set of balloons that go up while it's still dark. That is beautiful to see because they glow in the night sky. And then they check the weather conditions. And then when the weather is an all go, then all the balloons are going to start lifting up. And they go in a line across the field. They line up across the field, and then they go line after line after line. The balloons inflate, and then they lift off. So the morning event is the mass ascension where the balloons go up, and the evening event is usually the balloon glow where the balloons stay on the ground and they inflate and they light up. And I don't believe we have the balloon glows during the weekday, like the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of Balloon Fiesta week, but you'll have it in the evenings on the weekends. Now, if you plan on attending both, you do need to get tickets for both events. They are separate events. People don't typically stay the whole day at Balloon Fiesta Field. Now, you don't need to worry about getting tickets in advance to the Balloon Fiesta. If you're just going to the Balloon Fiesta, there are gates all the way around the entire field, and you can get your tickets for the event. They never run out, okay? You don't have to worry about that. You can buy it there. Parking, if you park at the event, that is where it gets tricky. There is usually parking for everyone, but if you come late, you're going to be parked really far away, and it's going to be a really long walk down to the event. And they also charge, past couple years, they've charged $20. It may be going up for all I know, but they expect cash. And so you have to be prepared for that. Now, I've been going for several years, and I highly recommend that you take the park and ride because traffic is literally a nightmare getting into the Balloon Fiesta. So they have several locations around town where you can get the park and ride. Now you do have to buy those in advance. So you can look online for the park and ride tickets, and then you can get on a school bus and it'll drive you right down and drop you off right at the park. I think that's going to be the best option for getting to the park. But on that note, there is no park and ride Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Those are the events with the least amount of crowd. So if you're going on those days of the week, you can go ahead and drive to the event. And I would still leave around 4:35-ish in the morning. You could probably go a little later and not have to deal with the crazy, crazy crowds that you have on the weekends. But there is no park and ride on those days. All right, people talk about bringing strollers. A lot of people bring strollers. They bring wagons. You can bring your own food into the event, but I do highly recommend that you try some of our fabulous breakfast burritos. They have a whole row of vendors at the Balloon Fiesta, but what you're going to see at the field is you're going to have a pavement around the perimeter, and then there's going to be a series of roads in the center of the park. It's kind of like a grid of grass, basically. And you can come with your stroller and your wagon, but let me tell you, on the weekends, once the event gets started, it is like standing room only. It is super crowded and hard to get around, but people do it. People do it all the time. And so just know that it's going to be just super crowded. And some people go in the grass and they find a spot and they sit and they just stay there for the whole event. You can do that as well. Just know that the grass is sometimes wet in the morning, and so you're going to want to be prepared for that as well. There are a few picnic tables by the food concession stands. There's not many, and those get taken really quickly. People bring blankets, so people just come and sit in the grass, and that is totally okay. You can bring lawn chairs if you'd like. That's another nice option to just get in there, get on the field, and then park it and just sit and watch the show. People ask if you can bring water bottles into the event. You can. You can bring water bottles. You can even bring snacks if you need in your bag. That's fine. You are going to go through like a metal detector when you enter, but bringing in your own foods and snacks is totally fine. Now, people with mobility issues have asked me about the area. Now, there is a handicap parking that is close to the front. Close to the front of the north gate is handicap parking. It is still a lot of walking, and so I caution you, if you have some serious handicaps, maybe you would go early, you would park in the handicap parking, and you would go in and then maybe stay kind of in one area of the field. Now, there are several VIP events that would be more appropriate for people if they really had trouble walking. and one is at the Balloon Museum. That's a really nice event, and it's just south of the park, and they have an observation deck where you can go outside and overlook the field. I was able to do that last year. If you'd like to see that video, again, I'll link to it down below, and I'll add it right up here. It's a little bit more expensive, but you get a nice meal, you get admission to the Balloon Museum, and you have a guaranteed place you can sit during the event. Pardon my puppy shaking her collar. There's also the Gondola Club, which is nice, and you can get to. The only problems with the Balloon Museum and the Gondola Club is you still have to like get your car to that general area, and so you can still deal with the morning traffic. But once you're there, then you have a place to sit in a nice area. You've got restrooms nearby, and so it's going to be more appropriate if you have some serious mobility issues. All right, bathrooms. I always talk about the Swifty Travels restroom report. It can get kind of crazy at the Balloon Fiesta. So I know of 2 areas in the park where they have just a massive amount of porta potties. And then there's a couple places where they have like a trailer that have a couple of nice restrooms. And I can tell you, I hate to say this, but long lines will form for the porta potties, and some people don't even know that there's a restroom trailer right nearby. So if you kind of go around the back, if there's no line there, you might be able to get a shorter wait for the restrooms. Okay, you can count on Swifty Travels for the restroom report, and I'm going to tell you a little secret. By gate 9, there's a bunch of porta potties, but there are 2 of these white trailers that are between the porta potties and the walkway. Nobody seems to know that there are restrooms there, and we're just a few people waiting. So if you want running water, it's a little nicer than the porta potty, especially in the morning when it's dark out and you don't have any lights. Right behind these Balloon Fiesta plaques are some restrooms. So that's my tip for you for this video. People do ask about being able to fly up in the hot air balloons, and that is available. If you go to the Balloon Fiesta website, you can set up a time if available. I don't know how quickly they sell out, but you can get a ride with Rainbow Riders is the name of the company, and so you can try to get signed up, and there's a special tent where you go if you want to go on a balloon ride. Now, when you come in gate 9, there is a booth here for Rainbow Riders and talks about balloon rides year-round. You can look right here. This is the check-in for your balloon rides, and all balloon riders have to be here at 4:45 a.m. and if you're an afternoon flight, it says right there you got to come in at 3 p.m. So you have to be here super early, and your entire group has to be here in order to check in. Now, she also showed me that on this side of the tent right here, there's a VIP for an extra charge, and I'm gonna have to look that up. If you come for a balloon ride and you wanna get some nice food and you wanna stay in a heated tent environment, that's right here behind me. Now it's already closed because I'm leaving for the day, but that's what you can expect when you come to ride a balloon here at the Fiesta. All right, so people ask me about what if it gets rained out or windy and the event cancels. So I talk about this in the Essential Tips video if you want to watch that. But if the event gets canceled due to rain, if you go down to the park, you spend all morning there, but the balloons actually aren't able to go up in the sky, they will typically let you reuse your entry ticket for another event, either in the evening or on another day. Unfortunately, you do have to pay for parking a second time if you come back. I'm not 100% sure if that applies to your park and ride ticket. If you know the answer to that, you should leave that comment down below for others. I would greatly appreciate it. I also talk in my Essential Tips video about the weather. In previous years, back in the early days, man, it used to be so cold, so cold in the mornings. I think the weather generally has become a little bit warmer than it used to be, but it is colder than you might think in New Mexico. Albuquerque is at 5,000 feet elevation, so it does get quite cool when the sun goes down. So when you arrive before dawn, it's going to be cold. So you're going to see people in their winter coats and their little beanies and gloves and a lot of blankets. A lot of people bring blankets. And then as the sun comes up, it's going to warm up significantly. So just dress in layers and be prepared. Now I'll tell you some of the times that I drove to the event and I came super early. I got down there in the 4 o'clock hour. I would literally just rest in my car in my parking space until it was time to go into the event. Someone actually asked me if you come super early at like 4 in the morning if you're going to have coffee. And yes, most of the volunteers arrive at Balloon Fiesta Park at 3:30 in the morning. So if you arrive early, I guarantee all the food stands, all the coffee stands, they're all open and ready for your business bright and early as soon as you arrive. Somebody did ask me if it's a pet-friendly event. I believe that trained official service animals are allowed in, but no, other than that, you can't bring dogs into the festival. People also ask me if there's other places in town where you can see great views. I know there's some people out there that know of some pretty sweet locations, maybe on the west side, that overlook the park. I personally haven't found them. A lot of times I just like to go driving around in the mornings, and the balloons, some balloons, they used to go all over town. And so again, depends on the winds and depends on where the balloons go. So I just can't give you a one place that's a great place to go to see the balloons other than going to Balloon Fiesta Field. If you want to talk about accommodations, I'll just tell you that Albuquerque is known to do surge pricing. So where you can typically find a room for $150, $200 a night, I've seen rooms go for like $500 and $800 a night during Balloon Fiesta week. That's unfortunate, but it does occur. So I would encourage you to look for a deal where you want to stay. They also have an RV park for campsites at the Balloon Fiesta Park, near the Balloon Fiesta Park. Those sell out within a day when they go online. So if you're looking to do that, you're going to have to really plan ahead. A lot of people ask me where you can stay for the best views of the Balloon Fiesta, and there's not any particular hotels that are literally right there. I keep thinking I'm going to do a video where I'm going to go stay in all the hotels and show you what it's like, and then I just don't get it done. But let's see, the Sandia Resort and Casino is the best location to get to the park. I usually enter the area from that tramway and I-25 intersection, and so if you were to stay at that hotel, you could easily get to the park. Now, if you had a room facing the direction of the Balloon Fiesta, you could see the balloons, but they're not going to be super close up. They're going to be pretty far away. There's also the Marriott Pyramid is probably the tallest hotel besides the Sandia Resort and Casino. That's another one that if your room was facing the right direction and the balloons started to float towards that hotel to the south, you might be able to get some good views. But it's really dependent, and depending on the winds for the day, the balloons may blow in various directions. So, there's no guarantee. Now, there are some hotels right there along Alameda. I think there's like a Holiday Inn Express. They're not the fanciest hotels, but they're very close to Balloon Fiesta Park. I'll tell you, they're close. They're as close as you can get to the park, but if you were to stay there and walk to the event, it's still going to be a pretty long walk. And they also close all those roads in the morning when traffic's headed towards Balloon Fiesta. So if you're staying at one of those hotels, if you wanted to do something else besides go to the Balloon Fiesta, you're going to get stuck in this traffic nightmare in the morning. So I just caution you about that. So since I live here in Albuquerque, I haven't actually stayed in a lot of these hotels, but I will tell you that if somebody asks me straight up where to stay here, my choice is usually based on price. But in terms of location, if you stay at the Sandia Resort and Casino, that is going to be the best place to drive into the event. It's going to be the most convenient for getting right down into the parking lot. If you want to take the park and ride, I would recommend there's a lot of good options in our uptown area of Albuquerque. There's a Sheraton on Pennsylvania Manal. There's like a Hyatt Place, I think, and there's a few hotels. I'll show you right here on the map. I'm near this Trader Joe's. And then there's like the main Marriott there on Louisiana and I-40. Those are all pretty good hotels. There's a lot of restaurants. They've done a nice job of making that area a nice place to stay. And then the park and ride is going to be right there at Coronado Mall. I highly recommend that area as well. Some people did ask if they can get an Uber to the event. I'm sure you can, but you can expect very high prices and very long wait times because Ubers will get stuck in traffic just like everyone else. So I really recommend that you do the official park and ride for the event rather than taking an Uber, because the park and rides will get you there. Thanks so much for watching. I'm a local here in New Mexico, but I do focus on travel. I'm a travel channel, so I'm going to do my best to give resources to you on the Balloon Fiesta. And if you're interested in following me to some other areas of the world, then go ahead and subscribe to catch me at the next location. Thanks so much for watching.